Well, it is a great organization of good people. That's the biggest part of the HBA, and it's the people that you meet out here are dedicated to excellence in their fields. They all want to get to know different people and find out what makes their businesses work. And we all enjoy income from the building industry. And so I think most everyone feels it's important to give back and to be a part of the HBA and support it with financial, our talents, and make sure that the industry stays sound and healthy.
Everyone is a competitor and a colleague. And you just don't find that in other associations. It still has a fun element as well as an increase in professionalism.
When I got involved in the Home Builders Association, it was primarily for business purposes. I had just started a new company and in the construction field, and I thought, this would be something very beneficial to me down the road. So that's how I got involved with it. And the more I got involved, the more I seen the opportunities were there.
And I joined mostly because this is where I want to do business. I'm in the building industry. This is the Home Builders Association. So for me, it was getting out there, supporting the Home Builders Association, and making business for myself.
I was like 25 years old at the time I went to my first meeting, and I was working for a competitor as a new salesperson, and he thought it would be good for me to get involved in the HBA. They had a Thursday luncheon that the ladies auxiliary put on. Every Thursday you would go and they would fix you homemade sandwiches and homemade soup, and everybody would pay $5, and that was the meeting that they had every Thursday.
I got involved just socially at first, coming out to meetings, and then finally I was in charge of a development loan, and we ended up being the parade site for the 1987 Parade of Homes. And so I was very involved from that standpoint, kind of launched my involvement with the HBA.
I'm a civil engineer, and Tom Winrick is a developer, and he was my client at the time. And I was in his office one time, and he said, "You need to join the HBA." And I said, "Why do I need to join the HBA? I'm not a home builder, I'm an engineer." He said, "Yeah, but we need engineers." He was pretty much just involved with Developers Council and, of course, I guess Builders Council, but I didn't get involved there. I mainly stayed with developers for a while until I developed a few friendships and got some contacts going, and went to a couple of meetings, general membership meetings. And at the general membership meetings, met some folks that I had known before, like Lanny Nelson and some others. And began to join some committees after that, just sort of slow and steady for a while, but I kind of plugged in where I felt comfortable, and it worked out really well.
I was state associate council president for one term, and we started a program then that was is now the annual golf tournament that the state has, that was started during my administration there as president, because we were operating in the red and needed extra funds, and we felt like that would be a good fundraiser, and it's been going now for, I think I was president in 1979 or something like that, so it's been going on for several years.
Well, of course, the Remodelers Association has been very influential in my career, and when I first started, it was just barely going, and there may be 5 or 10 people that would show up, and we didn't have a budget. If we didn't make the money, we didn't spend it. The Remodelers has really changed and really grown over the years. Of course, the Home and Garden Show, I've been active in it for years and years as chairman of the Street Signs Committee, and met a lot of people and made a lot of good contacts over the years.
I started with the Home and Garden Show because it was the largest event going and seemed to be the most widely advertised. So I thought, well, that would be maybe a cool one to go to. So I got on that committee and did an information booth, even though I didn't know anything much at the time. But it was fun getting to be with all those people. I was on the Parade of Homes committee one year, and that was pretty interesting too. It just kind of spread out from there. Once you make some contacts, then people will begin to ask you, are you interested in this committee or that committee? And it's easy to get plugged in if you're willing.
The event that I've spent the most time with is the Home and Garden Show. Even though I've never chaired it, I've been a part of it for many years and have worked and volunteered with it. The other thing about it is you make lots of friends. I mean, you just work with these people, you get to know them, you get to know their families. You just make a lot of good friends out there, a lot of good people.
I was State Associate of the Year, and I've been Associate of the Year in our local chapter. And then I was also, on 2 different occasions, recognized in the top 5 nationally. I think the first time was in 1979 when we hit the 1,009 members. We got a lot of recognition for that. And that's the first year that we started the national recognition of Associates of the Year. And so I was told I came in 2nd place, but they honored the top 5. And so that was quite an honor to be recognized on the national level for associate. It was the National Society of Honored Associates is what it's actually.
And I was particularly involved in TRC, in the Total Resource Campaign, and in the Government Affairs Committee. Those 2 things kind of set me apart from most other associates because chairmanship of the TRC is kind of a big deal, and not very many people are in government affairs, even though it's advocacy is a big part of what we do for the industry.
I think more than anything, it was just long service and activity and a lot of different things. I was never really the head of too many things, but I was always there to help and pitch in. And the year was 2002, and I'd been a member at that time for 22 years.
Yeah.
And,
Associate of the Year was probably because of in 1992 we had the Parade of Homes, and it was a 3-site parade. Yeah, it was in Signal Hill, Holland Lakes, and Hampton South, and I think that we had it at Holland Lakes, which is the high end of that market at the time. It was just there was like 8 houses in Holland Lakes. They were all, $500,000 homes, which was big at that time, and it was just a great party. We brought in Justin Wilson. He was a Cajun cook, had lots of cookbooks. He had a TV show. I mean, he was big. He came in and he signed his cookbooks, and we had a big party. I remember ONG was the sponsor of the party because they were so sweet to me about everything that they were doing for the party. And we had tents, we had a big food display, and I think we charged something outrageous at the time in '92. We charged like $25 a head to come in. I mean, to the parade. We charged the builders and associate members that to come to this party. We had a band. It was out in the street in a cul-de-sac. We had a big tent. It was festive. It was just a lot of fun, and that kind of kicked off our parade. But probably my biggest, or not biggest, but my most satisfying accomplishment was when I got to chair the state convention. I think that was in either '97 or '98. That allowed me to be very creative. I was working with Ken Klein. He was the incoming president, and we had a great time and put together the biggest convention the state has had or had up until that time, and they haven't had one that large since. And it was just a phenomenal experience. We brought in entertainers. We brought in a comedian who was from National, and had lots of education. Had great parties. It was well attended.
I was on the Government Affairs Committee. During that time, we passed some legislation that was particularly beneficial to members, and we called it the right to remedy, where if a builder had a problem with a homeowner, then set out a series of events that had to happen before it went to court. So it gave each party a chance to air their differences, gave the builder an opportunity to fix any deficiencies, kind of a back and forth, and then if the problem was solved, then good. So it didn't have to go directly to court in order to get something done. Beyond that, I think at the state, I was the president, or the chairman, excuse me, of the State Insurance Committee for about 6 years. And during that time, we increased the revenues to the state by a lot and brought on quite a few new programs. At the national level, had the honor of being the Associate of the Year, and then the State Associate of the Year, and then twice nominated for National Associate of the Year.
Really value is the Frank Sanders Award because of Frank's legacy within the company. He was there from the early days, and he did so much as far as negotiating the contract with the fairgrounds. Frank would always donate a half a beef for a membership drive, different things, and to have won an award named after Frank Sanders is really good, meant a lot to me.
I would tell them it's a very professional organization, from the staff to the board of directors. Everybody is very professional in this association. It does a lot to educate the public and to educate the members.
You know, I just like the diversity of the people. I like going there and seeing the different people, the Doug Shrouts and the Ted Dubies and the Alan Jenkinses, and all the people are different in their own way, but they're all good.
We have a lot of seminars, as you know, that are good for businesses, and I think that's one of the biggest assets that we have right now in bringing new members in, because the technology is changing so rapidly in today's market that you need to stay on top of ways to do business.
Put as much as you can into it, and then you'll continue to get things out of it. As somebody said years ago, membership pays, and they would say that when they were giving you $100 for recruiting, or you know, if you won a nice prize at Associates Night or something like that, membership pays, and it does. I just think it's important to be involved, and I think it's important to give back to the people that support you, and I enjoy it. You know, when I don't enjoy it anymore, you won't see me anymore.
The one thing that I feel like a lot of our members are lacking when we're trying to encourage membership in the association is not being real knowledgeable in what the association has to offer. And that was the one goal that I always had as membership chairman, was to make sure that I was really up to date on all the programs, all the events, all the get-togethers we had, and because everyone's not going to be interested in everything we do, but everybody's going to be interested in some of the things we do.
I think the overall impact of the social involvement allows people to come and be a part of it first. And then most everyone has a desire, or they wouldn't join, to get involved in some way. It pushed my comfort zones a lot of times, the things that I got involved with, and I grew. I grew professionally. I had opportunities to do things here that I didn't get to do at work. I mean, public speaking was one thing that most of my conversations were one-on-one with, you know, the customer sitting across the table from me. And I could carry on a conversation, but to put my thoughts together and address a large group of people, that was scary. that in turn helps me at work, because then when I did have that chance to get up in front of a group of my bosses or peers, I was comfortable. It really did help. So what I see today is that there's even more opportunities because we have more events. You know, back then it was, we had the golf tournament, we had tabletop night, we had, of course, the parade of homes, and it was it wasn't like it is today, it was closed site parades. We had the home and garden show, and you know, I came every month to my associates council meeting, and I went to the board meeting or the general membership meeting. And you know, after a while, I got involved in a lot of things, both here on the local level and on the state level. You need to get to that point where you're a little uncomfortable. And that has a big payback when you have that success, when you do something that you're just a little uncomfortable about doing.
It's a steady climb. It's not a jump right up on top of the hill climb. Take things slow and enjoy them and soak everything in and look and learn. Don't be too aggressive as far as your pitches to different customers. Get to know them, let them get to know you, and then when you get the chance, you know, give it 100%.
The main thing is to be involved and attend the functions that we do offer. Because I always told people when I was talking to them about membership, if you don't get involved and don't attend, you're wasting your money. If they don't already know about all the things that are offered by the association, they need to ask and find out, because there are so many things that will benefit them if they are knowledgeable about it. But sometimes the people that are recruiting them not real knowledgeable themselves maybe, or doesn't cover all the bases. But I would encourage them to really get in there and ask questions about what can I do, who can I serve.
Get around, make acquaintances, join committees. Anybody that asks for a volunteer, raise your hand. If you didn't like it, don't do it again. You'll figured out what you're good at. Do what you're good at.
Show up to every opportunity that you are given. You know, come to the meetings, observe, see what's happening, see who's involved, see which people you fit with, what personalities are working. You know, there would be times when there'd be people that I did not necessarily get along with or enjoy being around, and I just avoided those committees or whatever was going on with that particular event, because it changes. It will change. I mean, that doesn't put a personality on our association. So come to as many meetings as you possibly can that you can fit into your schedule. Get to know people. Don't be too shy. You know, find out who they are personally, and from there it'll work for you.
You've heard it 100 times, and everybody else has. You get out of something what you put into it, and that's very true of the Home Builders Association also.